Welcome to Sid Meier Simulation 2. So, I figured that I've shown off Simulation 1 in an Explore video. At this point, by this time, you're going to basically see Simulation 3 and 4 also be shown in Explore videos. And I also did a series in Civ 5. But I've yet to actually cover the one simulation game I've spent the most time playing. Civilization 2. So, this is probably the simulation game that a lot of people probably were introduced to the simulation series with, and it's pretty good. It's basically a Windows-based game, so this is made like basically for Windows. It wasn't actually made for DOS. And well, let's sort of get started, I guess. We're gonna start a new game here, and we'll go with, like, a normal map. We can actually customize how big these worlds are, but we'll go normal for now. I'll keep it on Prince difficulty. And we'll have 7 civilizations. You're gonna have, like, 3 to 7. You can select the barbarian activity, so you have, like, villages only where basically sanitary, or you can actually have them spawn. You can customize the rules if you want to. In this case, I could turn, like, startups, so there's, like, some towns and stuff basically popping up, or basically having some enemy players on restart. So restart, why not? Will be male. Now, I'll note that something very interesting about Civilization 2. This is actually like the first instance where basically you have all these civilizations here. You have like the Romans, you have like the Babylonians, you've got the Egyptians, and you got, like, the Indians and stuff like that. Something I found interesting about this game is that they had like the Souths in here. And for those who don't know, basically the Souths are like a Native American band, or tribe, or guess whatever you want to call them. They basically live in the far west of, like, North America, before the Americans basically sort of pushed them out more or less. It's interesting because basically I think this is like the first instance where you actually have, like, the Native Americans being, like, shown in Civ 2. They basically got replaced by I think the Iroquois in Civ 3, or maybe it's the Native Americans. I can't remember. Basically in, like, Civ 4 and Civ 3, you've got, like, the South basically being like the figureheads for, like, the Native Americans. You got the Iroquois also popping in. It's kind of interesting, like, they're, like, going back and forth with, like, these two North American native tribes, basically. Anyhow, let's just play with them, I guess, why not? We'll be Sitting Bull. Now, I can basically select your city styles in this game, so if I want to, it could be, like, Chinese style, or maybe, like, Roman style. We'll take Bronze Age, because why not? Basically, that's just, I think, the same as, like, the Aztecs and stuff. I always like the music in this game. Now, note that this right now, you're not going to see any cutscenes or anything like that, but there were cutscenes in, like, the Civilization 2. Basically, you need a CD to basically see a lot of, like, the stuff, listen to a lot of sounds and stuff like that, but for the most part, you're basically getting this without the CD version, so to speak, for this game, just because I don't have it, and because, like, the emulator I'm basically using doesn't, like, allow it to work anyways. Anyhow, basically in the beginning, there's, like, all the stuff I basically know already, because, I got an advanced start, so you have advanced stuff going on. There's, like, you grasp what's going on. I can research stuff. If I want to, I can press help to basically find out what this stuff does. So if I press help on astronomy here, I can see what it's all about. So basically astronomy, there's what astronomy gives me. It gives me navigation, with seafaring it gives me navigation. I can get the Copernicus Observatory, which is my science, like, basic institution. I can get a description of the technology you want to, or I can just press, see where it basically lies on, like, the the thing here. If I want to press gold, basically see what something I basically want to get. So let's say I want to, like, work toward armworking, for example. It'll basically tell me what I have to research, and in this case, it's telling me to research warrior code. So if I go for warrior code, I basically start to get toward ironworking. So let's do that. Basically, as you get grow, you basically get these, like, domesticated alerts, basically letting you know what's going on. All right, so here's our advanced start. Basically, I've got Little Big Horn, blah, the capital city for Dessous. I'm starting off with a settlers unit, which is basically used to, like, populate and, like, work the lands and stuff like that. Let's have them go up here and up there, and we'll start building a road right there. And I can't because I don't have bridge building apparently. It's kind of interesting that, like, this guy, he can basically sit on his forest here, but he can't do anything to it. Now, something very interesting, by the way, to note is that unlike like Civ 3 or Civ 4, forests really didn't serve a whole lot of good purpose for you. You usually want to convert them to something else, because they always give you more value if you convert to something else. I'm getting a couple shields out of this, but I could actually convert to plains and then, like, get out more from the plains basically as a result. So yeah, basically let's go change this to plains. That'll basically cut down the forest and all that. Alright, so here's some like units I basically got. I got the horseman. The horseman's like your basic cavalry unit from the start of the game. He basically travels along two tiles and doesn't have much attack, but he's just like, exploration unit for the most part. Here's a chariot. The chariot's a little bit stronger than the horseman. So I can make him go like this, like that. Now, I'll note, by the way, I tried to move this chariot onto the hill here. There's a very interesting system in this game where if you try to move onto like tiles that require more than like, one movement, you won't sometimes be able to move. So, for example, I try and move this archer here up onto this forest. He'll sometimes move, but sometimes he won't. So, for example, I try and move this legionnaire up here to like this forest. He failed. And that basically just shows off a little bit about what's going on and stuff. Now, I'll note that if you look in here, you'll notice I have like a bunch of shields for my units here. Interesting enough in this game is that basically instead of like, the other games where you support your units with like, currency, like basically like you have a finance and stuff like that. In this game, it actually, your support for your units comes through your cities. And how it basically works is, the more units you have like basically being produced, basically at any given time, the more like it drains like your production and stuff on your like, ability to build stuff. So basically right now I've got like, 7 units. I can only support 3 units with the city, so 4 of these units are basically draining from like the production this like city has as a result. I think what we're gonna do is gonna clear this guy's orders. We'll have this archer pop out. We're basically gonna try and find a civ and we'll start attacking it basically. Apparently I started near like the tundra, so that's interesting enough. There we go. Let's go like that. Move this archer up here. And apparently we can build like, a firmament a little bit, so let's do that. We'll build a carpet. Yes, there's my bearskin carpet. Basically, as you advance your sales, your palace to get more and more impressive, but starting out basically is like, very like modest stuff. Or, not really modest, it's just, basic. And actually thinking about it, I may want to try and build a settler unit here. If I build a settler unit, you'll see something very interesting about it. And by the way, the war is like, the very basic stuff you basically have. Let's have this guy go there. You can go right there. Apparently we're on a very small island by the looks of it. That's not beneficial at all. Alright, there's some land right there. There's nothing right there, so... Now, moving on those hills basically cost my chariot 2 points, but he's able to do it. If I try to move on some hills to that guy, you'll notice that he can't. Basically, like, it's very interesting how the movement basically works in this game. Stuff like hills will take like 2 moves to basically run on, and forests will take like 2 moves to run on and stuff like that. And if you have like a unit that basically moves like 2 moves, they need all their moves to basically have a chance to move, and sometimes they don't. If you use like a single unit like this guy, basically the archers only move like 1 tile at a time. They can move onto hills no problem because like it takes their full move to move anyway, so they always move anyways. So these guys go like this. Move on to coal. Crap. Alright. Oh well, that sucks, but whatever. I was going to try and show you guys something, but I failed to because of how basically the layout of this land is working, I guess. Notice that my settler over there finished what he's doing. And there's a goody hut. Actually, 2 goody huts. Alright, so basically I turned that into plains over here. I can irrigate again, basically make more food for that settlement. I should probably note, by the way, if you look at little bighorn, because I cut down that forest, it was actually using that forest to make production, so actually I now have less production being produced from the city here as a result. You go here. Weeds grow in empty ruins of villages long been abandoned. Sometimes you'll get like bad, villages like that. Nothing really do about it. It's gonna go this way. There's some valuable metal deposits, so I got some gold from that one. Alright, there's the French. And then we're saving from the French wish to speak to you. Yes, I can grant an audience. If I had to see these stuff, you see like a little guy pop up here, but whatever. Greetings from the most exalted Louis the 14th Emperor of France. You can basically exchange knowledge if you want to. Okay, let's exchange knowledge. Get pottery. Get writing. You can like make a peace treaty if you want to, or you can say no, your turn's not acceptable, and like go to war right away. So it's enthusiastic. And discussion is complete. Goodbye. So there's some French units over there, apparently. So they're up there. Now, basically something I know about this game is that there's a very interesting pattern to like how resources basically are put. Civ 3 had like a problem where like, sometimes you'd have like resources in places that no thanks, too busy. There's a high concept, by the way, you can actually like information from. We're not going to worry about that because I don't think it works in like the non-CD version anyway, so we're not going to worry about it. There's some money. But yeah, I want to know something. Basically in this game, by the way, I got zone of control here so these guys can't move, so just make that guy wait. And scrolls of wisdom. There's literacy. So I want to basically note something about this game here. You notice how like you got resources like this, and it's like sort of like right here. There's like a spot where I can get all three of these resources. Basically, Civ like 3 and 4. They or Civ 3 more or less. Civ 3 had problems with like placing like your first city because sometimes you get like these like starting home cities that basically they didn't have any like good like resources around them. They sort of they had like this like interesting way of like fixing it in Civ 2 because they made it so like the map. You always have like these situations where you got like resources like correspond to like a certain location. So this water location, you'll find like these free like resources around it. Up here is another water location. All these resources correspond to it. This location here, all three of these locations, all these resources correspond to it. And then like if I go over here, well, you can't really see anything with a little bighorn, but basically there's resources down there as well. And like that's just something I know about this game. It basically has like the resources they pop up so that you have like resources in like these very like identifiable locations, and as a result you can't have like bad like civ placement or anything like that, like you're starting cities or anything like that, because of like how like they did it. And it's something like I actually really liked about Civ 2, I guess, in like comparison to like Civ 3. I like Civ 3 because like it did a lot of good stuff, despite just like there's a couple of flaws. But there's like some good things in Civ 2 that Civ 3 didn't really like address, and actually made worse, like starting location and such. There's another one right there, by the way. So I notice, by the way, if you want to, this could be said to be like location for these three right here. And one is chariots. You notice that there's like a fourth right here. Sometimes you'll find locations that have like all four of these things next to them. You can sit right there. And yes, I very much liked this game back in the day. Okay, there's a settler unit. If I go to my zoom my city here, I want you to notice, by the way, that this guy actually takes food and like shields basically to like keep around. So it's kind of interesting in that like settler units are a little bit more different than like your soldier units, but they're still like the same in that they take like a food as well. I want to note, by the way, that your settler units, by the way, are actually your worker units. You don't actually have like a dedicated worker unit in like Civ 2 or Civ 1. That only started happening in Civ 3. So this guy is basically my guy who does both like the work on my ground as well as like the guy who builds my cities. So he's kind of interesting in that way. And if I build another one, I might as well send this guy over there. I'm just gonna look around with this guy a little bit more. I see a road in that direction. By the way, mountains I think take like 3 months to run around, so they require a lot of movement to get around. This is a nice little choke point over here, by the way. Ships can like move like this way, but if you have like a city here, the enemy ships can't actually move right there unless they have like zone of passage from you. Nope, there's a French up there. Alright, well you get the idea of like an advanced start, and I basically show you the map. I could play a little bit more of this, but... Well, you know what, let's actually play a little bit longer so I can try and show off a little bit more of the game, but you basically get the idea what Civ 2 is going to be all about. It's very much like, this like the other Civs, except that, it's earlier. And it does some things right and it does some things wrong. Can move up there, so that's fine. You can go right there. Ooh, bunch of guys right there. Now, I want to know something, by the way, about like the stacks in this game. Something I know about Civ 1 and Civ 2 is that you want to be very careful with stacking your units. Civ 3 and Civ 4, they had like problems with like death stacks, as they were called, where you could have like multiple units on like a tile, and basically as a result you could have like all these like units moving as an army to where like wherever they need to go. Civ like 2 actually and Civ 1, this was not a problem because if you have like units on top of each other like this, it's very possible that they can be wiped out when attacked. Basically, you have like 8 units on top of each other, and a unit attacks it and wins against like the most defensive unit. If that unit wins that attacks, you will wipe out all the units in that tile. And it's like a very like interesting way of like solving the death stack issue that they had. Here's metal deposits. That's cool. Here's a whale. How would you go? Now, I want to be very careful of like being in this thing's zone of control, but more or less at the same time, there's a lot of this tundra around here. It's not very useful, to be honest, but whatever. I think we're going to do this settler here. Let's move him toward over here, I think. So just go toward right there, I think. I'm thinking that the French have their capital over here. There's archers with warrior code. Let's go with ironworking. That'll give me access to the Legionnaire. Now, I'll note by the way that Civ 3 and Civ 4, they have resources for like building this stuff. As long as you basically have the technology for stuff in this game, you can more or less build it more or less all the time. So, ironworking, I can build Legionnaires basically, if I want. Let's fortify that guy right there. You can wait. You'll go right there. Alright, that's interesting. So we got this little land bridge over here, which can't be crossed. You can fortify right there, I guess. You go right there. Alright, this guy's reached over here. If I build a city right there, Wounded Knee. We found a city in like 1150 BC. Basically, there's our starting like city. I can work like this for money this fish, or I can work this coal for this stuff. Early on, it's probably best to like grow your city. So let's go for fish, and we can start building its flanks here. Now, I'll note, but once I built that city, Little Bighorn is no longer having to like support that settler anymore. It's now like basically foreign zone city, and it's no longer being supported. So that's great for it. And let's have these guys just sort of like mostly back over towards here, I guess. I'll probably send these guys up in this direction, so they can go up there. By the way, there's like a basic warrior. That's like the most basic weapon, unit you've basically got in this game. The warrior. There's the warrior. Move my stuff around, but I can't really move my stuff around with them, so whatever. Yeah, moving those units like that into a stack. Basically, the archers, if anything wipes them out, then they're wiped out for good. Alright, so I want to actually know something about like this little nun that you're seeing like next to this like unit right here. Basically, your units in this game, they'll have like a home city basically, and a home city is like where they're basically producing the stuff. So these guys, they're from Little Bighorn, and as you know, they're taking support from Little Bighorn and basically be like, around. Lost down there for a moment, but whatever. And yeah, basically, well, what can I say? Basically, units will have like a home city that they grab support from, and you can actually change like the home city of units if you need to. I'll probably show you in a little bit, but we'll have to get to it first. Interesting. Let's move this guy up this way. There's some more of your units over there. So uncooperative, okay, yes, I'll grant alliance. Alright, so blah blah, this guy wants to trade with us again. Okay, let's go with that. This guy's neutral at this point, that's great. Now, I'll note that these guys, they'll basically like, change their attitudes towards you as like time progresses and depending on how you interact with them. If you trade a lot of technology with them, they're usually very happy with you, but if like, they want to go to war with you, they might like, be unhappy with you and all that. By the way, if I look at this guy here, I can set this guy to support from this city. And that'll actually make it so this guy's being supported from here. So now this unit, instead of being a Little Bighorn, I'll actually make him wait. He'll be like Wounded Knee basically as a result. Alright, I'm building a city here, I think. Move that guy there. Move this guy up here a little bit. Alright, this guy's got settlers, that's cool. Let's zoom to city, and I'm going to start building phalanxes here, I think. Phalanxes are like your defeat. Obviously, if you're looking at like the thing here, you'll notice that basically they've got like these different units I can build. Basically, the first values you'll see right here are like their attack value in these units. The second is their defense value, and like the first is their movement value. And then there's these values over here. I've never really understood too much, but whatever. Basically, you've got attack, defense, and like movement on these units. And basically, this is like the system that's kept in like Civ 3 that they sort of like got rid of in like Civ 4 and on. And basically how it works is you have to have like these like units to defend your units. You have to like have like your units to attack with other units. So basically on the attack like a catapult's really good, but on the defense you want something like an archer or a phalanx, which will basically defend a little bit better. I'll note I've got the explorer down here. Just like it's got 0 attack but it's got 1 defense. Basically the explorer is like this like unit that can run around very 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 easily. So if I press help on it, basically you can see that treats all squares as roads. And he uses only one for of like a point for moving around, so this guy can run around on like mountains and anything, basically like or nothing as a result. I might want to actually get a diplomat, by the way. Diplomats are kind of interesting because they can basically go in like enemy territory, so they can run around and like basically like say hi to people. But in this game, diplomats are actually not like so much as like a diplomatic type of unit, but they're actually an espionage unit. How they basically work is the diplomat will actually run into like enemy city and like capture their technology and stuff like that. So, description. Diplomats serve their homeland in a variety of ways. Their primary function is to maintain contact with our civilizations and report on any developments of interest. Diplomats are also capable of engaging in less reputed activities, like including sabotage of enemy production, the theft of civilization advances, and the subversion of enemy troops and cities. Although they have no combat value, diplomats are nonetheless potent weapons if used properly. So this guy is basically a weapon. He's not like, basically a bureaucrat, shall we say. He's a weapon. Down here on those, by the way, you got like all these like lovely like, things you can build. You got the wonders down here. You got like the primary structures you can build. But yeah, we're gonna build a phalanx because the phalanx is a very good like unit to defend yourself with. You can go up there, I think. Send this guy this way. So yeah, if you see this guy now says he's from Wununi, which is what I want to be. He's from Wununi. This guy's gonna make his way up to here. So I can basically lock off his territory from the French. I will note, by the way, that if the French get like ships, they can like basically move their guys across with ships, and they can't do that if they want to. Okay, that guy can't move, so let's just leave him right there. And yes, there's lots of different tiles in this game. You got like desert tiles, you've got like forest tiles. I want to note, by the way, that this game also has this like you got the river tiles as their own thing, kind of like they did in Civilization 1. So basically, like in Civ like 3 and like 4, you have like river tiles and forest tiles and hill tiles. They can like all like mingle to each other and stuff like that sometimes. In like the Civilization 1 and 2, everything is like its own tile. So a river tile is a river tile, a forest tile is a forest tile. Basically, that's how it works. And you can like just work with it if you want to, or keep it whatever you want to. Alright, where's this guy right here? He's all the way up here, I guess. If you look at the white unit, white dot on this like mini-map, you can see what unit you're basically running around with. So there's some oil apparently. Babylon's are taking a great project. Whenever basically someone takes up a World Wonder project, you'll get a knowledge about what's going on. There's a French explorer apparently. You can go to the coal there. You can fortify. You go this way. So apparently the French are larger than me. I'm the hopeless guy. That's fine. I'm just basically showing off this game, right? Ah, there's roads. There's the French, civilization probably over there. Yep, there's the French. Hi, French. Oh, there's a fortress. Yeah, those are basically fortresses, these like little gray things here. And there's Orleans. You go over there, I guess. Golden Age of Philosophy begins in Roman city of Atium. If you get like philosophy, it basically gives you like a bonus to, like at that time. Basically, the first guy who researches philosophy gets like a bonus thing to like science, and they basically get extra science as a result of it, which is kind of interesting for them. They've undertaken the pyramids, so that's good. Their goal now. All right, what we need is basically produce the self-unit here. We're going to probably fortify to help defend the place. Let's actually start building granaries here. Granaries are basically one of the first improvements you can build. You'll get like this guy telling you what to do, and actually no, the harbor is actually probably better because the harbor actually gives me more food because I'm actually working at the sea tiles right now. So let's get that going. And we'll fortify it. We built our flags here. That's fine. Let's actually have him build a catapult maybe, because I can. Notice, by the way, I got all this production over here going right now, because I got like the settler and the flags being built. Here, right there, and done. Let's go this way, and that way. They're catching the Great Library. We're now at 300%, population, which is awesome, or 300,000 rather. You go this way and that way if you can. You notice that these French units are patrolling around their territory too, by the way. They're pretty good about patrolling around their territory, other units. Alright, little bighorn settlers made over here to Cedar Creek. We're going to grab support from these guys, so support from this city for the Legionnaire. We're going to get this guy to support from here. Now, note that all these free units here are basically getting support from here without any like problems. if I go look at little bighorn over here, you'll notice that they basically dropped. I think like basically the amount of units are basically is supported by city. It depends like your government. Early on, I think DFuxa, which is like your initial government, it'll basically have it so that like you can only have like a few units supported. Later on, though, like with like monarchy and stuff like that, you'll get more units as a result to basically do stuff with. And I think as a result of like having more units, you'll eventually have to pay taxes and stuff for units and stuff like that. But I think all the time you'll always have like these like support by shields and stuff. Actually, the easiest way to basically check this would probably just go to governments and stuff. So here's like the system of the government. You've got anarchy, despotism, monarchy, fundamentalism, communism, republic, and democracy. I've always found fundamentalism kind of interesting. That's basically basically this game. It actually has like fundamentalism for like religious type of like governments. So let's say like the Vatican City is basically ruled by fundamentalism. So it's basically organized by a central set of beliefs. It's a religion-based government. You can basically see what these governments basically do is to get unit support. Each unit beyond a 10th unit costs 1 shield per turn, except fanatics, which never require maintenance. Fanatics are like a special unit for fundamentalism. Settlers eat 1 food per turn. Under fundamentalism, no sin is ever unhappy apparently, because why would anyone be unhappy in a fundamentalism society and stuff like that? And you got like all this stuff like there it does. If I go to this other stuff here, I can go to like defense, which is what we're in right now. Each unit above the city size costs 1 shield per turn. So apparently, if I got like I guess a city that's like size 3, the 4th guy will basically start taking shields instead of eat 1 food. Happens up to 3 military units can be used to institute martial law. So basically, if you have military units in a city, it'll make them happy, and basically that's like one way of combating unhappiness and stuff like that, problems like that. If I go to democracy. Each unit costs 1 shield per turn, so you always have to pay for upkeep with democratic, republics. Settlers each 2 food per turn. I just lost sound there for again. Happiness. Each unit that's not a friendly city, and this is something I always hate about democracy in this game. Basically, if you're in like a non-friendly city or in a fortress that's 3 squares away from a friendly city, you basically have happiness problems with the democratic like government. But at the same time, it's got these very powerful ones like no corruption or waste is happening to democracies, because that's something to note. If I press like comments in here, you'll notice, by the way. Under communism, state control of economic eliminates organized crime. Your cities therefore experience no corruption. Ha 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 ha. But you do have lots of waste. Lots of waste happens in communism. Let's see here. Communism, basically, each unit beyond a third unit costs 1 shield per turn. Communism is great for like military players in this game, because they can basically just destroy stuff with them. But yeah, this is basically like Civ 2 here. Like I can't move anymore. Go this way. By the way, I can press like go to for these guys if I want to. I actually want to try and do a grid here. We can do it in this way. Yeah, show map grid. So I want to note, by the way, that Civ 2 was much like Civ 3 in that it's basically got this like sort of horizontally tilted 9 tile grid, or 4x4 grid. It's just tilted on its side here. Always something I found interesting about Civ 2 and Civ 3. They basically had like the tilted 9 square tile type of thing going on. Let's just turn that off. Alright, I think I've basically shown off enough about what Civ 2 is all about. I did play a lot of this game back in the day, but I'll note that this game also has a lot of issues with it. Basically, this is a game where it's all about planting cities as fast as possible, while basically maintaining defenses on them. If you build your cities really fast, you'll basically have big civilization in the long run, and as a result, you'll basically just dominate your civilization as a result. I've always found that to be kind of a weak thing for this game, but back in the game day, it was still new to this game, and they had a lot of things to still flesh out, but for whatever reason, they're basically, it did pretty well. Alright, well, I think that's basically showing off enough of what this game is all about. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and take care.